The wedding hall shimmered beneath thousands of crystal lights, every table decorated with white roses, polished silver, and candles that reflected like tiny stars across the marble floor. Guests dressed in elegant suits and designer gowns whispered excitedly as they waited for one of the city's most anticipated weddings to begin. At the center of it all stood Ethan Blackwood, a wealthy entrepreneur admired for his intelligence, generosity, and calm demeanor. To everyone watching, tonight was supposed to be the happiest night of his life. In less than an hour, he would marry the beautiful and sophisticated Vanessa Hart, a woman the media described as perfect in every possible way. But hidden behind the luxurious decorations and smiling faces was a secret so dark that only one tiny child had the courage to reveal it. Before we continue, if you love emotional stories filled with shocking twists, unforgettable characters, and endings that stay with you forever, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. Ethan had spent months preparing for the wedding. Every detail had been carefully planned, yet he remained surprisingly humble. Unlike many wealthy men, he treated everyone around him with respect, including the hotel staff, security guards, and cleaners. Among them was a quiet young maid named Lily Carter. She had worked at the Blackwood estate for almost 2 years after losing her husband in a tragic accident. Raising her 3-year-old daughter Emma alone had never been easy, but Lily never complained. She worked long hours while hiding her exhaustion behind a polite smile. Ethan rarely spoke more than a few words with her, but he had noticed how dedicated she was. Whenever Emma occasionally accompanied her mother during late shifts, Ethan would greet the little girl with a warm smile and secretly leave chocolates or stuffed animals on a nearby table for her to find. Emma adored Ethan. She called him the nice man, because he always remembered her favorite teddy bear and never ignored her when she waved. Unlike most adults, Ethan listened carefully whenever the toddler tried to explain something in her adorable, broken sentences. It was a small kindness that meant everything to a lonely child. On the morning of the wedding, Lily arrived earlier than everyone else. She was assigned to prepare the bridal suite, polish mirrors, organize dresses, and make sure every room sparkled before the guests arrived. Emma sat quietly in a corner coloring pictures with crayons while her mother worked tirelessly. Vanessa, the bride, entered the room wearing a silk robe worth more than Lily earned in several months. She barely acknowledged the maid's greeting. "Make sure nothing is out of place," Vanessa said coldly. "If even one flower is crooked, I'll have someone else cleaning toilets by tomorrow." Lily lowered her head politely. "Yes, ma'am." Emma looked up from her drawing. She didn't understand the words completely, but she understood the tone. Children often recognize cruelty long before adults admit it exists. As preparations continued, Vanessa's smile disappeared whenever Ethan wasn't nearby. She snapped at makeup artists, insulted decorators, and blamed everyone for the smallest inconvenience. Lily silently cleaned up broken cosmetics after Vanessa angrily swept them off the dressing table. Then something happened that nobody else witnessed. Emma accidentally wandered into the hallway while chasing her favorite stuffed rabbit. She stopped near the slightly open bridal lounge door. Curious, she peeked inside. Vanessa stood facing Lily. There were no cameras in the corner. No guests nearby. No smiling photographers. Only silence. "You think you're important because Ethan is nice to you?" Vanessa hissed. Lily looked confused. I never said that." Vanessa stepped closer. "You pathetic little maid. Stay away from my fiancé. I only work here." The next sound made Emma freeze. A sharp slap echoed through the room. Lily stumbled backward, one hand covering her cheek. Tears instantly filled Emma's eyes. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She simply watched, too frightened to move. Vanessa grabbed Lily by the arm and whispered through clenched teeth. "If you tell Ethan, you'll lose your job. And if you lose your job, how will you feed your daughter?" Lily slowly nodded. I'm sorry. Good. Vanessa smiled again as footsteps approached. Outside. Within seconds she transformed into the charming bride everyone admired. Emma quietly ran back before anyone noticed her. When Lily returned to finish cleaning, her cheek was slightly red. She smiled weakly at Emma. I'm okay, sweetheart. But Emma knew she wasn't. Children often notice truths adults hide behind fake smiles. Hours passed. The ceremony was finally ready to begin. Hundreds of guests filled the grand ballroom. Music echoed beautifully. The minister stood waiting. Ethan smiled as Vanessa walked toward him in an expensive white gown that dazzled everyone in attendance. The audience admired the fairy tale moment. Only one person looked terrified. Emma. She held tightly onto her stuffed rabbit while standing beside her mother near the back of the hall. As Ethan reached for Vanessa's hand, he noticed Emma staring directly at him. She wasn't smiling. She looked frightened. He smiled kindly. Emma suddenly broke free from Lily's hand. Before anyone could stop her, the tiny toddler ran down the aisle. Gasps filled the ballroom. Security hesitated, unsure what to do. Emma wrapped both arms around Ethan's leg. Her tiny voice trembled. Don't go. The room fell silent. Ethan knelt beside her. What's wrong, sweetheart? Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks as she pointed toward Vanessa. Then she whispered words that shattered the perfect wedding. She hurts mommy when you leave. Every guest froze. Vanessa's smile disappeared. Lily's face turned completely pale. And Ethan slowly stood up, realizing that the happiest day of his life had just become the beginning of a terrifying truth.